has delivered in that portal because you can access it from your phone.
Yes. That was the idea, wasn't it?
That is the idea. But now, if you want to rig the election, that means you have to go to all the polling booths in Nigeria to rig the election. Because it can no more come to collation center, but the election is no more coming manually to the collation center. Because it's at the collation center, like the one we test in 2023. You will see people carrying Ghana must go load of money and carrying already filled the result sheets and telling you as a polling clerk, come and sign here, this envelope is your own. Now you resign the one, apart from the one you have gotten from your polling booth. And they say, don't worry, let us declare us first, let us go to court. Because let us declare us first and let us go to court. And we saw it ended up in a lot of courts, including the one that was so glaring, even the Enugu state election, which they say they are contesting 30,000 votes from Enugu East local government. And INEC, in their wisdom, said, divide the 30,000 into two. Carry 15,000, put it in the dustbin. Give PDP the remaining one they are contesting, 15,000. Now, the one you have placed in the dust can, who casted those votes? That's the question you need to ask yourself. And that's why we are running away from that very manual. Yeah. Because if it has been electronically transmitted, you can't tell that it's already in the cloud. Amazon has placed it in the cloud. Wherever you are, you can pull it down and then see it. You can't tell Amazon, delete the ones in the cloud or divide it by into two, give me 30,000, I'll give 15,000, give the other man 15,000. You can't do it. So the essence of that transmission in real time, whether real time or non-real time, but from the polling booth to the IRF, is that to minimize taking manual results to ward collection center, local government collection center, and state collection center. Because those collection centers are where the election manipulations take place. We saw what happened in Rivers State. The results are still in public domain. Many of them were just uploaded a few days ago into the IRF. That's what happened in 2023, February. So you find out that what we are saying is that they can still rig the election if they can buy every polling agent, buy every polling clerk, buy every voter in all the polling booths in Nigeria. Then no problem, provided whatever they sign, upload it to us. We will accept it as a good result. But not when you take manual ones to the collection centers and then substitute them with another one that may be previous, because verification of the signatures of most party agents, I don't think they have the capacity, but they cannot do it. Because it's just like if you are appointed a judge today or a magistrate, your signature becomes a public document. To be with the DSS, to be the police, to be with every authority that is empowered with law enforcement. If you now say, I send Barrister Awforkansi to jail for 5 to 5 years jail term, you, the judge, you sign the judgment and they execute the order. If you come to prison, prison will simply compare it with the one in their system. Once it is the judge's signature, they will open their prison doors for you. You go in. And if you are released, and the same judge signed that you are released, and they send your release order to the prisons, prison will simply open their system, and because their signatures don't have public knowledge. Unlike the signatures of these party agents, many of, like during the 2020 election, many people were volunteer party agents, especially for Labour Party. Their names were never even in any of the polling booths. But because they now saw that they need to protect these votes, they volunteered to be agents. And nobody questions that.
Okay, since you're talking about protection of votes, right, I want to get your thoughts too on the aftermath of this whole imposed law, as pundits called it yesterday, that the law is imposed is not the reflection of what the citizens want. They are disgruntled, you know. So what do you think would be the aftermath of this law? And also, are we going to see a more stricter and violent election come 2027? Because citizens would want to stand up to defend their vote. How would all this pan out?
Well, we're going to see a higher tempo of rigging because they will now be emboldened by the proviso.
But also, on the other breath, right, they are calling on the ICPC, EFCC to go after vote sellers and buyers.
How many people are in ICPC? How many people are in EFCC? That was also, how many people are in Nigerian police? Now, let us also assume that Nigerian police, EFCC, civil defense, and even road safety, they are now enough to monitor how many million polling booths you have in Nigeria. Then you talk about the integrity of those people who are going to secure those polling booths. So you are going to see a high rise in manipulations because intimidation will also occur. Because like Olumo in Lagos and Nigeria way might also threaten what do you call them, polling clerks, not to upload results, that there's no network.
Right.
He will conclude on his own that there's no network, that and tell them not to upload.
So you represent, to a large extent, the obedience movement here in the state as well.
Yes.
You are a key stakeholder in the obedient movement.
I am.
Now, with the emergence of the village boys movement, which is expected to counter the city boys movement,
Yes.
and all of its ideals, people are saying that some people support it, others feel they are not focusing on the real issues, which involve, of course, possible rigging as a result of this newly signed act. What's your take on the movements that have emerged, and how do you think they would shape the 2027 election story?
I thank Tinubu so much for creating the village boys and village girls movement, because Tinubu created it. Do you know how he created it? Of course, you know that it was for us to counter the city boys movement. Because like one content creator said, he said, the city boys movement is not even as if you want to enjoy, you go and enjoy. It becomes like, you become a prophet and start prophesying, that the spirit of prophecy goes into you. You wake up one day and see your name in Afia TV, that you have been appointed as Director General of City Boys Movement. So you don't even apply for it because they handpick who they want. And that was what very like man now asked. Why still go for city boys? Why still go to share rice? I thought after 4 years, your work will be able to campaign for you. That is ordinary what it should be. If you're a good governor, you're a good local government chairman, you don't need to stress yourself in a second term campaign. Because I was a key player during Sullivan Chime's era, even though I had no appointment. But I was very key in the PDP activity, at least. I was the secretary of the Reconciliation Committee in 2011 election. Now, when the Wodos wanted to truncate that his chance, he told us that he wasn't born with the tag of a governor. That if they take the second term, they can take it, let him get arrested. They don't know. But one thing he said at Pavlov, he said, if what I do or what I did in my first tenure cannot campaign for me, I don't need to stress myself again. And naturally speaking, what he did in his first tenure campaign for him. It is like what is happening now also in Abia State, because once in every election cycle, we see one or two of such people in government. Everybody can be blanket bad. What's happening in Abia State now? Some people now say he must leave that office, whether he likes it or not. How they would do it, Deputy Speaker of House of Reps, how they would do it and remove him, he don't know. But what he knows is that APC will take over Abia State in 2027. Now, you can see he was one who anchored the plenary of House of Reps. And you saw how he was flipping the law. Page this, section 30. Just like, it doesn't really need to know. Just flipping it at the end of the day. He said the eyes have it. And then I took it. So what they did was to borrow, that's already had a better electoral amended law. So they now went and brought in that Senate own that had that proviso and added it to the very beautiful job they have done before. And now sent the Deputy Speaker at the spoil spot of Nigeria to go and they know they have a speaker.
Right.
And the speaker didn't go there. So the village boys actually is set, just like, in fact, like I said, it's organic, like every OB movement. Every OB is organic in nature. It's not something you say, come and register in village boys. So people volunteer to become members. But online, they are now dragging who is going to be the coordinator of village boys, when even the village boys have not been formally recognized by the person they are working for. But that every movement, like the obedient movement started that way. Somebody just coined that idea, named ourselves obedience, and people keyed into it. Just like they called those who are following Christ Christians in Antioch in Pisidia. It wasn't Christ that gave them the name. There were people say, who are these making noise? I don't mind them. They are Christians, those who follow that Nazareth boy. So we now began to answer Christians, given to us by pagans. not even Christians that gave us the name. So that is where the village boys has erupted again. Those who found that Obile movement has been hijacked by an elitist class, because of that movement, you need to know the Obi mantra to defend it in a national television like this. It's not just everybody that just says, I'm an obedient member. They say, okay, come and do a radio program. They'll tell you, what do you know about the Obi agenda? You start looking at pressmen. They will rubbish you. So it must have been intellectually sound to articulate what Obi has in store.
All right.
Just like the village boys are also coming up now to fill the other gap.
Also, Awforkansi, thank you so much for your input on today's program. That's all we can take. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Natalia, for having me.
Right, and if you do want more insights on the village boys versus city boy debate, go on straight to Afia News Backup, our backup news page, Afia News Backup on YouTube, and go ahead and check out Enugu Kanu and gain more insights on that. We understand that the village boys movement would be officially unveiled today in Abuja by its very own grand patron. And of course, he will be joined by other members. The grand patron happens to be Mazi Tochukwu Ezioke, also known as Elias Mazi Njenje. So he's going to be probably flagging this off today in Abuja, and we'll see where all this leads. We'll circle back to all of this much later. Thank you once again, Ozo, for your take.
Yes, thanks for having me. I think we will have a full discourse on village boys and village girls movement very soon. Yes.
No problem.
Yes.
The morning show returns, and when we come back, we'll be taking regional stories, see how the Ash Wednesday was, shall we say.